This vessel is incredible, Dr. Weasel. I don't mind admitting that my mind is well and truly boggled.
Oh, thank you, Professor Ranmore. It's always nice to welcome new visitors to my home away from home. Now, if you'll give me a few moments to set the spatial coordinates, I'll have us under the seabed in next to no time.
Are you reading an instruction manual? I thought you knew how to steer this box.
What, this old thing, Mr. Davison? Why, yes. It is the Weasdus's flight manual, with my personal annotations in the margin for added clarity. Aha! So simple. I simply need to feed the neurospectranalyzer readings into the geostatic translator array, and... hey, presto! You might want to hold on to something for the next bit. The old girl tends to get a bit jittery these days after all her crashing around the cosmos.
I didn't want to ask earlier, but now I feel I really must, Doctor. There's no possibility we could wind up appearing inside solid rock?
What? No. Well, tiny chance. Decimal, really? No more than, that's an outside guess, around a 10% possibility?
There's a 1 in 10 chance you could transport us all inside the planet's crust. And only now do you think of telling us about it?
Don't worry, Professor. When you've flown into danger inside the Weasdus as often as I have, those kind of odds start looking pretty appealing.
Far out in the North Sea, Project Tiamat's efforts to unlock a renewable energy source have seemingly awoken something deep below the seabed. With Advick Goose having been mistakenly identified as the late Dr. Weasel by the project scientists, he finds himself stepping into the Chronal Crusaders cargo pants in Dr. Weasel and the Screams from the Deep, Part 3.
Wondering who was under that pile of blankets.
Oh, that was an unfortunate former occupant of the Weasdus who used to travel with me. Caught the sharp end of a Weezer ray on the planet Galloway. Poor chap.
Isn't there anything we can do for him? Basically leaving him dumped in the corner of your flight deck hardly seems appropriate.
Or hygienic.
Actually, the Weasdus has placed him into a state of refrigeration, so he won't be in any danger of him defrosting and stinking up the place like a 3-week-old kipper.
Okay, if you're sure. Phew. Doctor, it is very warm down in these caves, but nothing like as hot as I expected. Glad we brought these torches, though.
We're several kilometres underground. It was hardly going to be as bright as noon in Provence. Admit from your readings, Professor, I expect it to be far toastier, though. Perhaps the heat is even more localised than we thought. Now, let's see if I can work out which direction we need to head in.
Is that a nail file? Why did it make that god-awful noise?
This thing? Why, yes, it's my sonic nail file. A handy portable scanning device. Plus, it's simply wonderful for buffing off any sharp edges on your talons.
Doesn't look as advanced as your vessel, Doctor.
I confess it used to be configured totally differently, until the time I spent it as a woman on Skirtulon 7. But that was my previous incarnation, so let's say no more.
Time spent as a woman?
There's no time for explanations or ponderous exposition. Come along, Ranmore, Davison. There's work to do. The heat readings are more intense. This way.
You don't know you're going to have to tell them at some point you're winning all this, Advick.
Shut up. I don't have to listen to your assaults on my self-confidence any longer. This is my show now.
Sorry? You say something, Doctor?
Nothing. Talking to myself. Terrible habit. Sometimes the only way to have a good conversation.
Terry, are we quite sure this Dr. Weasel is entirely on the level?
We've got to trust him, David. He's got us this far in his amazing capsule.
Simply because he's got access to advanced technology doesn't mean his staircase goes all the way up to the attic, though.
If you two have quite finished, we're almost at the heart of the readings.
This rock, it's glowing red with heat. Why aren't my shoes melting?
It's because he extended the Weasdus' defensive field strength to protect against nearby minor environmental hazards. Not that he'll bother explaining that. I know I wouldn't.
I wondered if you'd notice. It's part of the hyper-advanced Time Weasel technology I use. It's also why we can breathe down here so easily, my dear chap. Wonderful, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Doctor. So that means we'll be quite safe from whatever's around this corner then as well.
Ah, well, that's another excellent question. Top of the class, Professor. Well done.
He's stalling because he doesn't know the answer. Do you stupid goose?
You don't know why, do you, Dr. Weasel?
Now, Mr. Davidson, there's no need for that tone. I've simply not run into whatever it is ahead before, so I did want to write a check of safety I couldn't cash in the bank of certainty.
Tell me, Doctor, do you ever answer a straight question with a straight answer? Or is this all part of your mysterious adventurer shtick?
I'll have to get back to you on that one. Now hush. I think it's best we don't startle the thingy.
Thingy. We are going to die.
That's the Weasel spirit, my lad. Come along, onwards we go.
That's inconceivable, Doctor. It looks like a gigantic ball of lava, suspended in the middle of the chamber.
Chamber nothing, Terry. Look at the walls. They look manufactured, not natural formations. If I had to guess, I'd say this was some kind of control room.
Yes, I noticed the corridors had constructed morphology as soon as we arrived. I suspect this whole area is likely part of some non-terrestrial vessel, and one, which if I don't miss my guess, has been embedded in the crust for millennia.
You mean all of this might actually predate human civilization? And that thing is alive? A sentient being?
Well, yes. Another excellent question, or two.
You don't bloody know, do you, Goose? Because you didn't remember to set the sonic nail file to mode 3A, which will have given you the chronological resonances.
But in my professional opinion,
By which you mean wild guess.
I would say with almost certainty, we are in the presence of a highly technologically advanced alien being, and I'm beginning to realize it's been watching us closely ever since we came into this chamber.
It doesn't sound very pleased to see us.
Well, how would you react if some randos walked in on your private residence and then proceeded to whisper theatrically in the corner of the room like you weren't even there?
Hush, I'm thinking. Now, this roaring could in actuality be a standard friendly greeting in this being's language.
Doesn't sound too friendly, Doctor. What are we going to do? I wasn't expecting to encounter anything this large or this alien when we agreed to come with you.
Oh, very well, leave it to good old Dr. Weasel to sort out. Hello there, being who is, I assume, not of this world. On behalf of its peoples, may I say, welcome to Earth. I was wondering if we might attempt to open a dialogue. And yes, I'm quite aware walking into your home after drinking through your roof is probably not the best way to establish a viable dialogue, or create a basis for cultural exchange, or even simply say hello. But there you are. It is what it is, I guess.
Ladies and gentle beings, introducing the Nobel Peace Prize winner for 1978, Mr. Advick Goose of No Fixed Abode.
Shut up, Doctor. This is hard enough as it is without your constant chivying.
Don't think it's interested in opening a dialogue, Doctor.
In which case, I think it's time I use this flare pistol.
No, don't antagonize it, you might.
Is it out of the frying pan and into the lava for Advick Goose, the Project Tiamat scientist? Will the Earth-Stat Doctor be able to open a dialogue with the strange magma being from another star? Or is intergalactic war about to kick off under the North Sea? And is Advick slowly losing his marbles as the strain of playing a doctor becomes too much for him? Uncork the final installment in next time's conclusion of Dr. Weasel and the Screams in the Deep!
Dr. Weasel's a Weasel to the Order Enterprises production, starring Randolph Weasley and Dr. Weasel, Coonton Goose and Advick Goose, and featuring Joe Scott Darrell as Professor Terry Ranmore, Common Darrell as Dave Davidson, and special monster effects from Joe Ryan.